All right, what's up, everybody? It's Monday. What's up, Jack? How we doing, man?
You're doing good. How about yourself?
Good. As I wrote this morning, wasn't our best week. It happens. You bet 52 weeks, you won't have a winning week. Still winning records, but obviously looking forward to having a better week. So I'm going to start. It's funny because I gamble on Orioles every day, and I love the Orioles. I love watching. So I have like the fan part of me, and then I got the betting part. This is strictly betting. And I already made the announcement. There's no NBA betting next year. I'm already banning myself. I'm so turned off from it. But to be honest, I'm actually excited about the game tonight. I think we're finally going to get a good game, and I have strong opinions. And I felt like my strong opinions in game one were hit. So let's see. I'll throw them at you, and you tell me what you think. But I love Dallas tonight, and I would say the main reason is they have absolutely nothing to lose, and it's the worst situation to face Kyrie and Luca when they're gonna each try to go for 40 tonight, and they're going to feel like they can make every shot. Whereas I feel like the first two games of the series, they were thinking 7 game series. Let's get PJ some shots. Let's get Derek going. Let's get Gafford. Let's get Lively. How do we attack? What are the Celtics going to do? But tonight, I feel like, hey, I'm going to score. You're going to score. We can beat them. Let's just see if we can do it one time. And if we do it tonight, obviously all the pressure kind of reverts a little bit to Dallas in game six. So I'm not willing to say that it automatically goes back to game seven, but I think tonight, man, the palms are sweaty here for the Celtics. And I actually like the Mavs to win the game. And I think it's the first time it goes over. I expect the Mavs, I don't know if they're going to get to 122, but I think they get to 110, 112, 115-ish. And yeah, so I got, let's say 113, 109, something like that. That's where I got the Mavs tonight.
Yeah, I really like that analysis. I think a lot of Kyrie's pressure on the series was going back to Boston, and I feel like he's kind of gotten over that. And so I expect him to play a no holds barred offensive style of game, kind of like you're saying. I think he put a lot of pressure on himself, and I think going back to Boston in a place where they hate everyone that's not a Boston Celtic, I
Right.
think he felt that a lot more than he was ready for. And now he's going back game five, nothing to lose. Fuck it, might as well. Let's do it.
So two things I wanted to ask because I told you before we started. I didn't want to tell you what the questions were because I wanted to do it on the pod. I love the way Lively's playing, like especially last game, but I do like the minutes that Gafford gives, right? So they've committed to Lively. It seems obvious that he's going to get the majority of the minutes. So is this a situation? Because I very, very rarely say that the lines are off, right? Like all they do, the lines makers, they spend all this time on this stuff. It's only one game. I don't know if they missed something or if I'm missing something, but they have his points and rebounds at 8.5. And I don't know how that both of those numbers don't go over. Do you think my theory on it is because it's Lively, it's not Luca, it's not Kyrie, it's not going to get a ton of action. They're just going based on what his averages are the past 4 games. And I love the value for Lively tonight. Talk me out of it or talk me more into it.
I agree completely from a rebound standpoint. I think he could get 8.5 boards on his own. I think that's comfortable. From the points wise, Lively's most of Lively's points come from free throws fouled under the basket or alley oop dunks. And if Luca and Kyrie are attacking, it's kind of hard to get both of those things done to get 8.5 points. But in terms of rebounds, I had his rebound line picked out already, and so I already like Derek Lively's rebounds as well.
So
So I think they get a lot of outside shots, and that leads to a lot of rebounds.
right,
So
because the way they played and Lively, he basically turned into like remember Tyson Chandler with all those tap outs and because that's the way. If I was coaching tonight, I was like, listen, Luka, Kyrie, you just shoot and Lively and everybody else, you just go crash the glass. We got to play balls to the wall. So all right, so you like the rebounds, you wouldn't necessarily go with the points there. That was
yeah,
one thing, and then the second thing that jumped out at me is Horford. Same thing. So Porzingis isn't going to play, and I get Horford's numbers. Uh, I mean, the numbers have passed. I think it's 5 or 6 quarters against Lively are like awful, but he was also exhausted on Friday. Of all the players, with the rotation being what it is without Porzingis, having less rest, Horford was the most tired. He basically checked out of that game. I like his points and rebounds today as well. 8.5 with the points, 6.5 with the rebounds. Porzingis isn't going to play. I mean, he's just not. I shouldn't say it like that. Like I'm 100% sure about it. We're 4 hours away, but I'm really, as much as I've read this morning, this afternoon, we're recording, yeah, like 4:30 on the East Coast. I don't think he's playing at all. I think they'll use him in game 7 if they absolutely have to, but by all accounts, he just can't move. And you just don't. Anyway, so assuming he doesn't play, are the Celtics, they're not going to bench Horford here. So how does he not hit his total at home tonight?
I mean, just age and athleticism, right? I mean, Horford was at Florida in 2007 or something, and Derek Lively's fresh legs out of college. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. Lively's got that. Lively's got the vert. Lively's got the bounce around the rim. He's athletic. He's long. Al Horford is like a dinosaur that can still shoot the three ball and play smart basketball. And so he might get some of those points. I think he gets eaten alive on the glass. They don't have Porzingis. Part of the best thing about Porzingis is how tall he is, and he's able to just tap out those rebounds or grab those rebounds just because he doesn't really have to jump. Horford's like 6'10" on a good day.
So you're making my point of why I love the Mavs tonight, because I feel like without Porzingis, if they put Tillman in there again, Luca, they will make sure that Luca or Kyrie get to go 1-on-1 against him.
Oh, and it's just Cook. Yeah.
And so, what are the other answers? I mean, the Brissett character, the Cornette character. I mean, they don't really have anybody to go to. Pritchard and Hauser. I guess the way that the Celtics win tonight, like if I'm playing devil's advocate, is the threes are just overwhelming, and Pritchard and Hauser contribute to it. But I thought, and then okay, this is what I wanted to throw at you: the worst takes from people about Luka's defense or Steph Curry's defense or James Harden's defense is that somehow they're not like capable of being great defenders, because the whole ability to play defense would be to understanding how great the offensive ball handler is. So this always was the easiest and funniest thing to me as a coach, even at the high school level or working with college athletes, is the better the ball handler, the better the defender, because he can then anticipate what me or you would be trying to do, right? So if you understand ball handling the way Luka and Kyrie do, they can lock down. I think what happens to Luka, and I said it before the series, that's why he's not my favorite player, is he's not in the best shape. He's always bitching, but I thought something clicked. I didn't want to bet the Mavs. I was so pissed because I really was going to bet actual money on the Mavs in game 4 because I felt like they were going to win. But Luka was such a baby in game 3 that I wasn't sure if he was going to change his attitude. He really changed his attitude. Like if you actually watch that first quarter, something was different about his defense. I think something clicked here for the Mavs. I expect them to win tonight. I really do. I think the only way they don't win, and maybe that's why my bets will be the Mavs in the over, because the only way I think they're going to score. Maybe I should say it like that. They should score easily. Could the Celtics outscore them? I guess. But what you said about Horford is why I like Lively's points and rebounds. But I hear what you said about the rebounds. What do you think? Give me. I didn't give the most coherent Celtics win. I guess for me, it's just they make a bunch of threes. Is there a different pathway? If the Celtics win by 10, 15 points tonight, how do you think that happens?
It comes down to the Celtics guard play for me. I mean, you have Drew Holiday, got 27 when he needed to. Team wasn't hitting shots. He was able to just go out there and get a casual 27 points. And so that's really big for me. You pair him with White, Tatum, Brown, and obviously Drew Holiday. That's a pretty stellar 4 guys right there, especially with how Derek White's been shooting the ball. He plays phenomenal on-ball defense. Tatum is above average defender. Brown's an above average defender. Drew Holiday is like the anchor. Like that 4 guys can go out and win you any game. It doesn't
So,
matter who the 5th is. They could start Sam Hauser, Cornette at the 5, and Dallas would be able to pick at that matchup. But those 4 guys, they kind of outclass Dallas's 4 guys, in my opinion.
so
And
the
that's
one.
not a knock on Kyrie or Luca. That's a knock on the other 2 dudes that are next to him.
So, but do you see it? Could you see a game where they don't hit the 102? Because that's their team total tonight. I have
The
a really hard time that Dallas not hitting 102. I hear what you said, but to me that sounds like 119 to 108, right? Like go ahead.
I don't know. I could see it going both ways. I mean, like I said, the Celtics defense is stifling. Those 4 guys play really well together and they play as a unit. Obviously, Horford and Porzingis, that scheme shifts a little bit depending on who's in there. But those four guys play phenomenal rotational defense, and they're able to get out to shooters. They're able to stop the mid-range drive. They're able to like cover the pick and roll really well. And so, I mean, if Kyrie and Luke are hitting those tough shots, then yes, they 100% hit that number.
I,
But if they're not, then it's game over, and Boston's hoisting the 18th banner.
yeah, I felt like the first 4 games, it came down to Kyrie and Luka making tough shots. I feel like the shots are going to be easier tonight. I like the energy for the Mavs. So, all right, let's move on because I feel like if I talk about it in circles, that's the thing when you're betting on these games because I'm not betting significant money. I had $500. I think that's probably why I like the Mavs. If I'm being honest, I bet $500 before the series at plus 475 for the Celtics to win in 6. So this guarantees me money if I want to hedge it for the next game. So I think part of me speaking it into existence. But the other reality is, and we'll talk about this in football season, as you start making real money and you decide if you're going to bet real money on these games and increase your budget and all that jazz. My rule is I'm either betting a lot of money or I'm just having fun. Like, period. Like, there's nothing in the middle, or it would become an addiction for me. Like, I would really bet every single day, all these sports, and that's what I wanted to get into with. As we move along, we get into the summer. You're figuring out, life, different things you're going to bet on. Is there the main thing I'm trying to help people with, whether it's tennis, golf, NASCAR, UFC, I don't care what it is, Olympic swimming, running. We want to try to find like an edge. Like the whole point of this is, yeah, we can bullshit about like the main games and whatever. But if you have an edge on a specific sport, a specific matchup, that's really what we want to focus on. Is there anything this summer that you're looking forward to? I know baseball you're getting into, a little bit, but is there anything else that we can expect your analysis with?
Yeah, definitely. But I'm a big golf fan. I had a few personal golf bets over the US Open, a few personal golf bets at a few of the different tournaments, the Memorial and stuff like that. But I definitely haven't had a lot of time to get the analysis behind that. Most of those bets have kind of just been hunches, I would say. They've worked out sometimes, haven't worked out other times. But yeah, I definitely look forward to having some more time to do research on some golf tournaments and stuff along those lines.
Yeah, because I think when we get in the football season, you and I, it's like fun to talk about the games, but once you break down the games, and that's kind of cut myself off earlier. Like the point about this Mavs Celtics game, and the reason why I said I can talk in circles is I can make the case for anything happening tonight. And that's really, I feel like that's how professional sports are. Like 90% of these games, same thing with college Division I sports, they come down to it could really go either way. The real value for betting is live betting and prop bets. That's where I feel like you can find more value. So as we get into football season, that's what I'm going to be pushing myself towards. It would be the first time, as I bet on these games, I talk about like the playoffs is the only thing I feel comfortable betting on. Once I know what the stakes are and everybody's trying their hardest, there's so many things that are in play now that just have nothing to do with the game that I'd rather just focus on one player or limit the variable. So, all right, well, cool. Thanks for letting me ramble about that as I asked you your my own question. All right, well, let's see. Well, you got. I'll get the picks out in a few minutes. You'll get them out, and then I guess that'll be about it. Anything else I missed?
Nothing really. Oilers ran away with it against the Panthers. They're kind of in the same position here. It's actually been the hockey series, the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals have almost been like mirror images of each other because Connor McDavid for Edmonton is very similar player to Luka, and it's very interesting to see how that plays out. Dallas blows out the Celtics by 40, and then Edmonton goes and hangs 8 on Florida's known stifling defense. And so it's kind of funny to see how that plays out. And I'll be curious to see how those two series also play out with these two teams trying to work their way back with the best player on the ice or on the court.
Yeah, we talked about that, I guess, a week ago. It was pretty much the same situation, and then it played out the same way. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
what was it, 8-1 the other night?
Yeah, 8-1, absolute blowout. I saw some interesting stuff on X about if Florida was able to come back and win this game, the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is for the playoffs, would have been given to the Florida Panthers goalie who got pulled in the game. If they were able to come back, he got pulled. It was like 4-1, I think. But if they were able to come back and tie and go to OT, the trophy for best playoff performer would have been to a guy that got pulled in the clinching game,
There
which
you
is
go.
really interesting.
So there's one more thing actually wanted to ask you. When I was in the middle of my rant earlier, I was like something was at the tip of my tongue. It was the college baseball World Series, and it was the women's softball. And I was talking to somebody, and there was like two of us, right? It was a three-way conversation, and the one guy was talking about he was making these bets for whatever softball, college baseball, and the other guy was just like making fun of him for it. Like, why would you bet on these things? Like, you're this, you're that. And I just went on like a whole long rant about actually though that's what you should be betting on. The other stuff is almost impossible because maybe there's a huge talent gap between Texas A&M baseball and Arkansas baseball. There's much better chance of that than in the hockey, NBA, NFL, at the highest levels. I really feel like the best way to gamble. I was talking with a client. Yeah, lacrosse you can bet on. That's why I was asking you if there's like a golf tournament that not everybody's paying attention to, where you follow one golfer. Same thing with tennis. There are ways to make money betting on sports, and that's frankly why I haven't relaunched the site yet because I'm trying to gather a couple other people who aren't just, hey, I win 70% or whatever picking college football because you just don't. And anyway, so I think there's a lot of different ways for people that do want to find an edge. And that's why I say, when I have these consultations with people, it starts with, do you have the time to do the research? Right. And pick a sport, pick a thing. But all right, I'll let you roll. And yeah, I got the Mavs. I really like the Mavs. I like the 102. And we'll see. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I appreciate you. I'll see you. We'll talk, but I'll see you. We'll recap this game and then maybe preview the next game as long as there is one.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, bro. See you, Jack.
Take it easy.